Hey everybody, this is Neil Allen, the creator of the comic series Zatswan Multiversal Guardian, and I have good news for you, maybe. I have another Shawn James video here. And you might think that I have something personal against Shawn James, and I'm certainly not a fan, but I don't necessarily think I have anything personal against him. I think Shawn James is convenient in a way because he kind of embodies and makes a lot of talking points that are really against a lot of things that I'm about. And with my own unique perspective as a mixed race person, I think it can be educational for other people and also beneficial to actually put my perspective out there, because a lot of mixed people, I think, we've been somewhat trained not to put our perspectives out there because, it's a unique perspective, and our simply being is somewhat controversial. Just us being around is somewhat controversial. So we very well may ruffle feathers with some of our perspectives. And yes, I'm probably going to ruffle the feathers of some pro-blacks with what I'm going to say, even though I think what I'm going to say makes sense. So Shawn James just kind of speaks a lot of, he has a certain viewpoint, and I understand he's like a completely different generation than I am. But that's why it's interesting to actually put my viewpoint out there so that people can better understand the views of mixed people, better understand that mixed people are around. It's like they know we're around, but I don't think they really put much thought into our perspective. And it's kind of like the thing in the old colonial days. You know how the saying was, no taxation without representation. Well, if we're not out there to put our voices out, then people will think it's okay to just trample over us the way like a Shawn James does. So I'm going to play a certain clip here, and I'm going to give my thoughts on it. So let's get right into what he's saying.
To the mainstream media are images designed to degrade and dehumanize black people, and this is why we cannot be out here looking to imbibe all of this media from these entertainers. We can't go out here and imbibe this media from these entertainers. Yes, they'll put a black face up in front of you, but that black face will be out here promoting anti-black narratives, whether it be somebody out here acting like a stereotype or somebody promoting an anti-black narrative like interracial relationships like swirling or passport bros. Again, the whole idea is to keep black people from coming together, and the whole point of this media is designed to keep us from coming together, to take power for ourselves, and keep black men and black women from coming together to form functional families and functional homes. I mean, this media, again, is not owned by us or for us, and we need to understand that just going after one individual.
Okay, I'm gonna cut it out there. So this is an educational video for people in general, but I am going to speak directly to Shawn James with this point. Shawn, you're always gonna get like big pushback on as long as you keep promoting that image or that idea that the interracial relationship is this evil thing with a vile purpose, and it's a conspiratorial to destroy the black home. You're always going to get a lot of pushback on that. That's what landed you in trouble with the passport thing. And I can see you're just not going to budge on that point, which is your prerogative. And I'm not really saying this with the purpose to get him to budge, but I do want him to understand that he's always going to be on the fringe I mean, you can build an audience with that, because I imagine there are pro-blacks out there that believe the same thing. Well, actually, I know that there are, but you're always going to be something on the fringe because you're promoting a very hateful message here. And that hateful message is that the interracial relationship is actually evil or vile or something. And that is a hugely offensive thing to hear for someone who's actually the product of an interracial relationship. I mean, historically, interracial relationships have, and people in them, have gone through so much just to be with the people that they want to be with, you know what I mean? Have endured so much. And, while things are definitely a lot better, you still can see like an undercurrent of hate going on here. Like somehow the interracial relationship is evil, vile. It has some kind of weird white supremacist type of undercurrent that's meant to undermine somebody. But you know what's so weird? You both can't. This is why I'm against a lot of these types of messages, because some of these extreme pro-black messages are the same as the white supremacist messages. It's like they're different sides of the same coin. And the funny thing is, they both can't be right. The white supremacists will say that the interracial relationship is some evil thing that's meant to target and undermine white people. The pro-black people will say the interracial thing is some evil racist thing meant to undermine black people. It's like you both can't be right. You understand that, right? But anyway, I think that what he's saying is, personally to me, hugely offensive, simply because it's implying that the way, my very origin, there was something kind of perverse or wrong about it, which isn't the case at all. So, I mean, you're promoting a really hateful and actually very well, that's the best way to describe it, a really hateful message. And you're always going to be something on the fringes as long as you do that. The thing about why I think a video like this is important is because I don't know for sure if the people who speak things like this, especially, I think the white supremacists know what they're doing, but the pro-blacks, I think because they perceive themselves to be on the bottom of the totem pole, they think that they have a pass to just go saying stuff like this and then essentially stomping all over people, which is the very thing that they're often complaining about. They're essentially complaining about being disregarded, not heard, not considered, stomped all over, and then you turn around and you do that to other people. Like, with no regard whatsoever. That's essentially the problem I have with these types of messages. And I remember in my previous video, I said I have a problem with Shawn James because of hypocrisy and cognitive dissonance. Here's another example of the hypocrisy. So apparently, so what's really going on here, Shawn, let me tell you this, is that the interracial relationship is a thing. There are people who are in them. There are people who are the products of them. And when you see them in media, all that's happening is the media is reflecting real life, and it is also, attempting to get people on board who actually can relate with that experience. Now, maybe you can't, but your experience, you have to understand, even as a black person, your experience is not universal. There are people who have had totally different experiences that actually appreciate seeing their experiences reflected in media, just like you do. Okay, so essentially what you're saying, Shawn, is that you should be considered, what you want to see in entertainment should be supported, but somehow your needs somehow take precedence over, say, mine. That's essentially what you're saying. You're saying that a person like me, excuse me, that we exist, but apparently we have no needs, we have no desires, we have no want to see things that we're familiar with represented in media. And so this is like a common thing that happens. People who say appreciate seeing interracial relationships because they can relate with them, they are never going out here attacking monoracial white or black relationships when they see them. I don't think I have ever seen that from anybody. Yet when an interracial relationship appears, some people, black people often enough, interestingly, are always complaining about, like, why is it every time like a black man's in something, or a black person's in something, they gotta be with a white person. First of all, that's not what's really happening. It's just you're having a problem when you see it. It's not like something you see all the time. I think I would know if it was something that was seen all the time, because I would notice something like that. Sure, it happens. It still doesn't happen a lot. It's by no means the norm. But I think it's pretty interesting that we like never complain if we see a black, like we don't complain about black entertainment showing up on the TV screen, but a person like Shawn James always complains if there's something meant to interest people who appreciate interracial relationships in media. It's always going that one direction. So there are some other interesting things that Shawn James says in this video. I have it timestamped. I'm going to zoom over to it. It's kind of the same stuff, but let's see what he's saying here. Just a second. Okay.
Person to promote their anti-black agenda. So when it comes to the entertainment industry, I don't sample that much anymore, even though I was a diehard TV junkie back in the 80s. I mean, again, I used to watch TV from 9 o'clock in the morning with I Love Lucy on Channel 5 to The Honeymooners at 11:30 at night, and I used to tape lots of different shows, but now I'm focused on creating my own content and looking to empower black people. And some folks out here, like these bootlicks, they get upset when I talk about creating my content and looking to target black audiences, and they do that because when they see me talking about targeting black audiences, I'm looking to, again, promote black empowerment, and that upsets a lot of people.
I don't know that Shawn James is talking about me, but what I would say is pretty much what I was speaking only for myself here. Shawn James can make as much entertainment as he wants. That's fine with me. That's not the problem I have with him. The problem I have with him is when he somehow acts like the entertainment that he would want to see, you know, his preference-wise, somehow precedes something that, say, I would want to see. And then not only that, puts what maybe I would want to see or what I would create down as like evil or white supremacist, or, you know, starts throwing all these assumptions at it. That's the problem I have with him. I don't really have anything to say about his entertainment other than I'm not interested in it. Okay, so you're into like BET black type of entertainment, that's fine. Not really my cup of tea personally, but you know, the thing about it is that I'm willing to say, okay, I have my own preferences, he has his own preferences, and leave it at that. That's perfectly fine. I'm not going to put anybody's preferences down or put anybody down for having their preferences. Shawn James can't do that though. And that's a sign of a really insecure person, when you can't just accept, okay, that person's into different stuff than I am, and that's okay. No, you have to be part of some weird conspiracy or agenda, or be evil, or be a part of white supremacy, or all this other stuff. You can't just like what you like or do what you want to do. He always wants to ascribe these types of, you know, really bad things, attribute these really bad things to a person. And again, it's not really just about Shawn James. It's about these toxic pro-black ideals in general. This is just the individual here that's like espousing them. Let's see if there are any other interesting things he's saying here.
But the whole thing is, I do this because I understand this media is healthy for us. It's healthy for us to see ourselves as we really are. It's healthy to see us out here doing things like creating businesses. It's
like being in interracial relationships, because that actually happens with black people.
Healthy for us to see black families. It's healthy for us to see black people living lifestyles outside of the ghetto, like being a part of the goth subculture, or being black comic collectors, or black sci-fi and fantasy fans. It's healthy for us to see us as ourselves.
Like being in interracial relationships?
We really are in this world. Because
that really happens in this world?
It's really healthy for us to see one of the things I put in many of my books, black self-love and black on black love, because when we see ourselves loving ourselves.
I don't want to be in a relationship with myself though. I mean, I don't want to be in a relationship with myself. That's why I'm in a relationship with another person.
I mean, it basically gives us a sense of pride that I grew up with watching The Cosby Show and watching all of those movies like the ones Robert Townsend and the Hardland brothers made.
And that's perfectly fine, Sean, but not everybody had your experience. Not everybody has your experience. Not everybody has your preferences. And that's perfectly fine too. Yours isn't universal. It's not better. People liking other stuff isn't evil. And basically that's the gist of that. I really don't think that these views will get through to this guy because, you know, he's really I can see he's a very stubborn and closed-minded person. Like, he's going to believe what he wants to believe, and that's perfectly fine. The intent of this video isn't to change his mind, it's to get those other perspectives out there. Yes, we have our own perspective, we have our own experiences. They maybe aren't the same as a person like Shawn James's experiences, but that doesn't invalidate them any kind of way. Same with our preferences. That doesn't invalidate our preferences any kind of way. And this guy's always going to be on the fringe as long as he keeps like preaching a hateful message, which is what he's doing. And part of the video here is to get across the idea that this is actually a hateful message. It's just hiding behind this, oh, I'm black and I can't be racist type of BS. No, that's not true. He's literally coming out here saying the interracial relationship is bad, and he typically acts like all white people are white supremacists. And, you know, the thing is, like, when you don't like being painted with this broad brush, like being hit with all these stereotypes, when you start doing that to all these other people, like white people, like, oh, they're all bad, they all have these bad ideas, and, you know, you can't trust them and stuff like that, you become just as bad as the thing that you're trying to oppose. That's what a lot of pro-black individuals like this, I think, you know, I don't know, do they actually realize that, or are they just so deluded that they don't see it? But sometimes people just refuse to see what they don't want to see. But anyway, that's it for now. I hope this video has been helpful, just getting a different perspective out there. Like, this is how a person like me, with my experiences and my background, this is how I perceive his message, actually. And I think it's actually educational for everybody to hear that. That's why I make the video, because sure, I can say, and I have many times have said, okay, this is stupid, don't pay this person any attention. And I definitely understand the thinking behind that, but with my own unique experiences and viewpoints as a mixed person, I do think it is important for us to actually say what we think, to have a voice, to make it clear that these types of messages are actually very hateful and harmful. So that was basically the purpose of this video, but I hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to read my own comic at my website, Zatswan.com, and I will talk to all of you again very soon. Take care.